opening night from the box. Going to be chilly box tomorrow, as it was chilly Friday night in February of 2007 for Paul Maneri's first game. I was a freshman at LSU, and I was there. I had some beverages pregame to make sure we could make it through a chilly night against St. Mary's with Charlie Furbish on the mound. We made it through that one back in 2007, and we will make it through tomorrow, LSU and Maine at 6:30. And we know that Blake Money will get to baseball for LSU to start. Look, the Friday night guy is a big thing in college baseball, and your Saturday starter need to have a solid guy there. You need to have your Lewis Coleman. You need to have your Jared Poche as your big Saturday night guy. And Sunday, you want to have a guy that throws a lot of strikes and keeps you in it. Eric Walker was great at that a few years ago. And there's roles in college baseball that we have come accustomed to over the years. And LSU is going to defy those a little bit early because they don't have anyone that's proven they can do any of that other than Mikhail Hilliard last year, who was solid when he became a starter. He was 6-0 when he became a starter. ERA was north of 4, but he had almost a strikeout an inning and kept the walks pretty low and kept LSU in some games. So he's proven himself at times, and he'll get the ball on Saturday. Blake Money gets it, as we said, on Friday. I don't necessarily think that Jay Johnson looked at Blake Money and said, this guy gives me the best chance to go 7 innings against whatever first-rounder, Florida or Vanderbilt or Mississippi State's rolling out there, 10 Fridays in SEC play, and he's my guy. I don't think he thinks that. I think he thinks that Blake Money has some potential, and he'd like to get a look at him. I think the same way about Mikhail Hilliard. I think the same way about a lot of guys. Devin Fontenot, Ty Floyd, Riley Cooper, Will Helmers. There are a lot of guys he wants to see. And the fact of the matter is that this is not a murderer's row of a non-conference schedule. I'll read you the pre-conference schedule. They've got a 3-game series with Maine this weekend. They go to Louisiana Tech next Wednesday. Then the following weekend they play Towson and Southern, each twice in 4 games. Then they go to then they play UNO in the midweek. Then they go to Houston. That's Oklahoma, Texas, and Baylor. We'll come back to that. But outside of that, then you have McNeese. Then you've got a 3-game set on the weekend with Bethune-Cookman before you play Tulane, and A&M opens up conference play. A&M, by the way, not expected to be very good. So, I would argue that Wednesday's game at Tech is a much more difficult game than any of the 3 this weekend against Maine. Tech was a regional host last year. They've got some talent. They're not going to swing the bat quite like they did last year, but Maine is not a former regional host from last year. Maine has not practiced outside yet. So I would argue whoever throws on Wednesday's got a tougher assignment than Blake Money has on Monday. Jay Johnson is going to look at a lot of guys over the next 3 weeks with Maine, Towson, Southern, Oklahoma, Texas, and Baylor with some midweek games and see who he's got that can give him 5 innings straight. Who can get me 15 outs in a row? And then you can try that against Bethune-Cookman, who's also terrible, in the final weekend before conference. So I think more is probably being read into this Blake Money start and this Mikhail Hilliard start than maybe should be. He gets the first opportunity to go out there and see if he can get me 12 outs and throw strikes and look good. But let me tell you, there are going to be probably 4 guys this weekend who are asked to go 4 innings. Hopefully, Money and Hilliard can do that on Friday and Saturday. Hopefully your guy can do it on Sunday. If somebody doesn't, or even if they do, somebody will come in, whether it's Fontenot or Floyd or Cooper and Helmers, they'll stretch out and they'll get a chance. And if Blake Money goes 4 innings, walks 3, and gives up 3 runs, and all of a sudden you throw Ty Floyd out there Sunday and he goes 4 innings with 6 strikeouts and doesn't give up a run, Ty Floyd may be the guy that is moving towards the Friday night spot. What I'm trying to say is this is all an audition, and most of it is against bad teams. So it's kind of like the pre-conference for y'all when you don't have a showcase game in football where, yeah, you're playing McNeese. Like, just because someone does something first against McNeese doesn't mean they're going to do it against Florida 3 or 4 weeks later. It's an audition.
All right, let me play devil's advocate here for a second.
Okay.
Okay. I got 2 questions for you. Okay, first question is, do you think with Blake Money being the first guy he's calling out there, do you think he has not earned enough this way in preseason and doing everything thus far? And then that second part to that is, let's say he does, play well and against Maine in his first appearance, stretches you out 5 or 6 innings, and he does that his next 2 appearances. Do you think that earns him the right to be the first guy as the ace of this lineup?
I'll answer both. I think that he's getting the ball on Saturday because Jay Johnson has seen a guy who has committed himself to lose almost 40 pounds, has been excellent in his time out there on the mound in spring and certainly in fall and even in the, well, we call it spring, it's the winter, but has been in the last couple of weeks of practice. I watched it when he went 5 innings 2 weeks ago, and he was excellent. And I talked about it that week on the show that he looked very, very good. So I think that he's probably earned the first go. Has he necessarily cemented himself atop the list of candidates to pitch Friday night against A&M? I think that's probably too much. I don't know that. That's the beauty of these discussions. Like we've said, I had a feel for what Paul Mainieri was going to do. If Paul Mainieri was the head coach of this team, Devin Fontenot would be starting tomorrow because he gives guys a hat tip for career accomplishments and lets them throw the first pitch. Anthony Renato was going to be LSU's ace and Friday night guy in 2009. Lewis Coleman started the opener because he was the older guy. Ben Alsop was not the most talented guy on LSU's roster when he started in 2011, and he went out. I mean, Gaussman was on that team, Eads, McCune, but they gave him the ball because he had been there the longest. Jared Poche got a start on Friday night when Alex Lang was on the team because he was a senior and he had earned the right to go out there on opening night. That was how Paul generally handled it, and I think that's fine because you're going to be just fine for 56 games. You're probably going to win the game anyway. This is a little different, and neither's right or wrong, but he's got to find something, and Money gets the first opportunity. If Money, like you said, goes out there and is great in this game, then he goes out there next week. Towson, I believe, is first. Maybe it's Southern. I don't even know what's the order. Let's see. On Friday, they play Towson. If he's great in that game, and then I think he's probably earned the right to go out there against Oklahoma on Friday afternoon in the Astros Stadium. If he goes 6 innings, 2 runs, 5 strikeouts, no walks, he's going to pitch against Bethune-Cookman and Cookman, probably A&M. So, yeah, I guess you could say that he's kind of got the shortest path, but there are so many options here that it's not only possible, it's likely that someone over the next 4 games, these 3 and Louisiana Tech, stretches out and has a better outing than Blake Money. It's likely. We'll just see how it transpires. I think what is good about this is that there's not really anybody on that staff that can look at their situation and feel comfortable about it. Like, I'll tell you that, Matty Ott coming back in 2010, he didn't have to work real hard in the preseason to know he was the closer. He had set the LSU freshman record for saves. He was coming back. He was going to be the closer the next year. There's nobody on this roster that is that other than Fontenot, kind of, even though he hasn't been quite that. And he is not settling for that role. He wants to be a starter. So even he's got a foot on his backside trying to kick him into gear. And everybody on the staff knows they're pitching for their job every time out, which can scare you and make you scared to make mistakes, or can motivate you and say, hey, I'm going to go get these dudes out.
Yeah, I think for me, I'll ask you this one. I know you're Hunt Palmer, but let's say you're Coach Hunt Palmer.
I did that one time to you, and then now you're scared.
Yeah, gotta do it to you now. All right, who out of these 4 guys, out of Fontenot, out of Money, out of Coleman, out of Hilliard, they haven't played anything this far, but if you had to punch a guy in, to start the grunt of this season, who would be all right? I feel like I have this much trust. I have the most trust in this guy to get it done.
Good question. I want to answer it truthfully and not just throw a name out there and then just start talking. I think the best upside to all of it on Fridays is probably Javen Coleman, who I haven't mentioned in this segment. He's probably going to be throwing 91, 92, although I think there's a little bit more gas in that tank, maybe not as a starter, certainly not holding it that long. And I'm a little bit dazzled by what he did last year in the regional. They went up to Eugene, Oregon against an Oregon team that was the host, a top 16 team in the country. And in a game LSU had to have with their backs on the wall as a freshman, he went out there, he threw 6 innings, allowed 1 run, I think 8 strikeouts and 1 walk. And that was against a really good hitting team in a very offensive ballpark. He was great. So I think you're going to see Javen Coleman for 3 or 4 innings at some point in the next 4 days. And I think that's got an opportunity. I don't want to dismiss Money. I don't want to say I'm dismissing Money. I praised him 2 weeks ago after I saw him. And look, he was throwing 93. He jumped to 94, 95, and he got guys out. He was throwing strikes. He looked great. And so I'm hopeful. But what I want to guard against a little bit is the narrative that Jay Johnson's kind of dubbing his Friday night guy, Blake Money. This is audition time for everybody. So that's kind of my point. They're talking about Garrett Edwards, Ty Floyd. Absolutely. Those guys have shown me something. Garrett Edwards had really good numbers last year just getting outs. Do I think he's got a really plus pitch? No, but this is an all-state basketball player. He's 6'5". That's a guy that I think could easily make a jump from his freshman year to his sophomore year in terms of velocity just because he's such a good athlete. And some of those guys have never focused on baseball full-time, Edwards certainly being one. My favorite example of that is Andrew Stevenson. Andrew Stevenson came to LSU as he's played every sport his whole life, and he was a really good wide receiver in football. He's a great speed guy. Shows up to LSU as a freshman, plays unbelievable center field, but he hit 190 because he just wasn't ready to hit. He went to the summer league, swung a wooden bat, made some adjustments to his swing. He came back the last 2 years, hit like 360. I mean, because he had never devoted his entire athletic ability to one sport in baseball. Maybe Garrett Edwards is that guy. Ty Floyd's got to learn to throw a breaking ball. Yeah. He's got a great fastball, great spin rate. I love Ty Floyd's ability. He's got to throw the breaking ball, and they say he's making strides. And we had Jason Kelly on last week. He said, Ty Floyd, he's coming. And so that's great. That's another guy who's going to get a chance to throw 4 innings over the next 5 days. Yeah. Do we think that there's just no chance there? So I think it's exciting, and it really there's something to like if you have Aaron Nola and you're playing in Maine in the opener, you're gonna go and you're gonna have some fun and you're gonna get a hot dog and get the kids some popcorn but you know the outcome. Aaron's gonna go out there, he's gonna go 6 innings, he's gonna strike out 8, he's not gonna give up any runs. This at least, even if they do go nuts and Cruz hits 2 home runs this weekend and they bash the ball over the yard, every time a pitcher comes out there, they're auditioning. And if you're a fan who's locked in and trying to win championships, as opposed to somebody, hey, some people just want to go out and enjoy a game at the box with the family, and they're not going to listen to us every single day, and they're not going to get into box scores and where are we in the RPI, and like that's not your thing. But if you're that guy or you're that woman and you want to know what this team has got, every guy that comes out there, if it's 12-1 or 1-1, they're trying to prove something. I think that's an exciting thing. Breeding this competition is really cool. So
I think going into this, I think the biggest, and a lot of people make a lot of noise about the pitching rotation and the staff and everything like that. Maybe it could be a good situation. It's just maybe all these guys are more closer and you don't see that normal separation you normally see. It could be very well that, or do you think it possibly could be, maybe we do have those issues because there isn't that ace out there. There isn't that Aaron Nola out there. There isn't that guy we can really point to and really say we can get outs on a Friday night.
No, it scares me. It scares me for sure. But I wrote this morning. I wrote a whole big baseball preview, and this is what I talked about with the arms. I listed 14 guys that I think have a real chance to help. There may be more. There aren't less. There may be more. But these are the guys I listed. Blake Money, Mikhail Hilliard, Riley Cooper, Javen Coleman, Devin Fontenot, Ty Floyd, Cale Lansville, Bryce Collins, Garrett Edwards, Eric Raiselman, Paul Gervais, Trent Vittmeyer, Grant Fontenot. That's 14 guys. If 8 of the 14 are really good, now that's a lot, but but that's 6 that aren't. If 8 of the 14 are really good, this is an elite team. I would prefer it if one of them was going to go 11th overall in the draft and sign for $6 million and be a star. But if 8 of those 14 are really good and you can piece it together and get outs, it's an elite team. If 4 are really good, you got problems. It's a numbers game. It's a numbers game with how many guys they've brought in, with how many guys develop and become studs, and how many innings, which is another number, they can give you. It's all a numbers game with this staff. It's not a roles thing right now. It's a numbers thing.
Thanks so much for watching Hunt Hill on YouTube.
Now do us a favor. Hit the red subscribe button below and throw us a like. We'll see you next time.